Hello, hello, and welcome back to Sound Dialogues. Sound Dialogues is a project about learning and teaching English and not only English languages. So, my name is Tanya Lesyk. Welcome to my project. Thank you for being with us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow us and get the access to new videos and chats and interviews. And today, I have a very special guest. This is Olena Zaretska. Please welcome Olena. Lenka, thank you so much for joining us today, for finding the time in your crazy schedule. I know how busy you are at the moment, and I love this, absolutely love this. Could you please tell us a couple of words about yourself?
Thank you. Hi to everyone. My name is Olena Zaretska. I'm an artist, and last years the main job that I do is um, mm, caring about a memory of my family. My family is a Soviet Ukrainian artist. My grandfather is a big, famous Soviet painter, and my grandmother is a famous painter and activist, Alla Horska. My grandfather, Viktor Zaretskyi, I didn't tell it, I'm sorry. Alla Horska, she's the main things she done. She was one of the sisters, the group of people who were how to explain it in English and right.
Supporting Ukraine and trying to fight for the Ukrainian art independence.
Ukrainian identity in Soviet Union,
Yeah.
right? And she was moderate in 1970. And in Soviet Union, memory of her was destroyed.
Mhm.
So what have had my father's done? He care about her memory. He wrote a book. He wrote an articles about her, and a lot of others things. And my mission and my job right now is to do it after him, after
Mhm.
his death.
Mhm, mhm. So to continue to preserve the memory about your grandmother, and
Yeah,
to carry on this memory and to tell the world, Ukrainians who
yeah, and
actually didn't know much about her because yeah, everything was forbidden to yeah
even in Ukraine, but of course in the whole world, we also have to speak about them and speak about other Ukrainian artists and Ukrainian culture.
Yeah, true, true. How are you and English language related? You are not a teacher of English, but are you a learner? Are you still learning the language, or you've stopped at some point and you say, okay, it's enough for me. I've had it. I have enough to communicate. And how many years have you studied English?
I know it's a popular Ukrainian joke that we all have been learned English for whole life from the
Yes,
from the
yes.
beginning. I feel the same. I learned English from early school, then in university, then a lot of courses. Then I have a very I had have a very good uh, sometimes I'm sorry, sometimes I forget
Don't
exactly
worry.
words.
Yeah.
Very good досвід,
Experience.
very good experience. I took part in your conversation club
Yes, yes.
when a big war was begin, and it was not only for English. It was a very supporting group for all of us Ukrainian who was who were abroad at that moment, and I also was abroad in Portugal. So for me, this English Conversation Club was like, I don't know, very big support. And so thank you for the
Oh,
times.
thank you. Thank you so much as well. I remember those classes. Yes, I was in
Of course,
Portugal as well. Yeah.
you was there too, and of course it was a lessons because I learned a lot of new vocabulary for
Mhm.
me and new terms, and this feel free in speaking
Yeah.
And then I had every week lessons individual with one girl, one of my friend. This summer we took a break, a little bit gap for summer vacation, and still right now, unfortunately, all my English lessons, it's reels in Instagram and some YouTube movies, and unfortunately, I know what I have to do. I have to watch episodes in English or movies.
Yes.
But a lot of business, a lot of cases right now, it's there is so much of them, so I can't watch episodes even in Ukrainian.
Yeah.
And my problem that I want to do that even for English teaching, but I can do it only in evening. And in evening, absolutely every day, I feel so tired. And when, oh my God, I have to watch something in English, it's a big brain
work for brain. It's too much.
I wouldn't do that. I'm sorry. And another problem that maybe I use a lot subtitles. And I have a low level to hear English. Listen.
My suggestion would be to you, if you allow, and to the viewers, if you also feel that your brain will work too hard when you're watching the films in English and you would like to change that a little bit. From my personal experience, your brain stops hurting after the fourth or the fifth film, so it gets better. First 3 or 4 films, you feel, a little tight. You have to think too much. You have to follow the subtitles perhaps, but after, if you don't stop, keep watching, it will eventually get better. So here I would strongly suggest to be consistent. So don't stop, don't give up on this one. One more tip, how to get your listening skills and to start loving to watch the films in the original, is to watch the films that you already know in your mother tongue. Or films that you like and you could reproduce the lines. Then when you watch it in the original but still have the subtitles, for example, you know what she said in the dubbing, but this is what it sounds like in English. So you are learning, but the easy way. So keep going, persistence, don't stop at film number 1, even if it feels too difficult. And two, just start with easy films, the ones that you already know, and then just switch them to the original and leave the subtitles on. This works really, really well. Proof.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you gone to the point when you feel confident when speaking English? If you already have this confidence, when did you feel it started? When did you feel it happened? And what worked for you?
I have exactly a current point of this moment when I stopped to afraid to use English. Even my 5 words, I think I really have not very rich vocabulary, unfortunately. But I was on it was not summer vacation. It was a trip with my baby. Mothers and all other parents should understand me. We can't call it vacation. It's hard work.
Oh, true. Like, why do they call it a weekend when we don't rest? Yeah.
So I was me with my son, a small son, baby. We were in Egypt, and it's a popular thing that a lot of in Egypt speaks Russian. That's true, but more people speaks English. And it was not hotel hotel format.
Mhm.
We just rent a flat and live there like all people. And my small baby son had an allergy, and I need it's was very danger to not understand what uh, meals, what food contain milk. He had an allergy for milk,
Okay.
so uh, I had to begin to speak to
Mhm.
understand that my
Mhm.
baby son wouldn't die right now
Yeah.
in this cafe. And this was a point when I began to explain my order
Yeah.
to everyone. And after that, after that, I oh my God, I can use only five words. I mean, five words
Yeah. Yeah.
to explain everything. Okay. So I just can learn more and more vocabulary. That's all.
And hang
And
up.
that point was also understanding that I shouldn't use a lot of times in English. Of course, it's my problem. I right now maybe use only one or two,
And
but
you are
simple.
speaking, and it's
But
okay.
I am speaking. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
I have for example, my mother also learned English for whole her life,
Okay.
and it's we together have a lot of joke about this because she very afraid to use English in that Egypt cafe, for example. But when our waiter left us, she can tell me, you should say not there, you should say there, Olenочка, there. And I said, Mama, you just can use it by yourself.
Yeah. Why didn't you use it yourself then? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's always easy to criticize and to correct somebody else's mistake. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So your tip, your suggestion would be to break this speaking barrier, would be to get into some kind of a tough situation. Yeah. Some
Yes, it's a
stressful,
situation.
yeah, it's a
You
stressful
know,
event.
uh,
Yeah.
I can combine it, порівняти,
Compare.
compare it with my drive lessons.
Oh, yes.
I was afraid to drive on winter, on ice or on snow, and for one winter I was not driving, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But on the next winter, it was a few years ago, I have no choice. I had to drive under house of my sick father
Mm-hmm.
and stayed there because my small son was asleep at this
Mm-hmm.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't use taxi or something else.
Yeah.
So it was also a tough situation.
Yeah, so you had to. And yeah, so when the circumstances force us into something that we were afraid of doing or using, like the language, it's a great, as they say, if you want to learn to swim, you should be thrown into the water. Yeah. And that's obviously, with somebody professional watching over you. So we have a teacher, a tutor, a
Yeah.
language educator next to you. Yeah. Or in your life somewhere. But without actually going into these stressful circumstances, not necessarily with danger to your life, obviously. Don't take this too seriously.
Yeah.
But if you don't try it, you won't move. You won't, start walking if you don't make
Yeah.
first step. I remember when I just moved into London and I was already then a third year student at the university, so my language was at an advanced level. And I clearly remember I had this fear of speech. I had this, the blockage inside of me.
Mhm.
I was every time like standing in the queue, I was building a sentence in my head, trying to remember, like to revise whether I'm using, whether I've prepared the correct tense, as you said, whether what intonations I should use, and so on. So I've had these, little fears in my head and this fear of speech for about a month. But because I was surrounded by English, I did not switch to, I don't know, spending time with Ukrainians, so that I feel, oh, it's
Yeah.
my comfort zone. No, no, no. I was out there. And after 1 month, something clicked and no troubles whatsoever. So you really need to start doing something in order to overcome the fear. And also, uh, it's okay to have mistakes. It's okay not to use the 12, 16 tenses. If we are able to express our feelings, people will understand us. And then with time, we'll get better. I think somehow we were always taught that we have to be perfect. Our language has to be perfect. Our pronunciation has to be perfect. The tenses
Yeah,
usage
it's a
has
big
to be
problem.
perfect, and so on. And it's too much. We cannot start from there straight away. We start from here and then take small steps to improve, right?
Yeah, and of course, it's also for begin. It also have to be some safe space for that. For example, when I speak with you, you have so perfect, so beautiful pronunciation. So I a little bit every time for begin, I a little bit feel shame. But I know my pronunciation not so beautiful, but you like you as a person, so kind, so safety. So and you tell me about this. You never criticized me like, oh, your pronunciation, you have to work about this. Of course, I have to work about this, but I can also speak like I can right now.
Yeah,
And
true, true.
it's important, of course.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The safe environment especially when you're trying to make, the first steps. And when it comes to pronunciation, I must say that this is a very delicate matter. And I really quite often have to be very extremely careful with how I, for example, assess the pronunciation of my students or of whoever comes to me for my course or when I do the diagnostics. So it's a very private thing. When I take the homework from my students, they are often recording either the audio recordings, the voice messages, or it's the video message. And it's something that not all people are okay to do. It takes courage. It takes, some intimacy to send a recording of you. Making some movements of your mouth onto the camera. So I'm very, very cautious about this, and I'm always trying to be very careful with, not saying, "Oh, you're wrong. Oh, you do this bad." Because you will just kill the initiative. You will kill the first steps, yeah, the right
Yeah.
move. Yeah, absolutely. My next question would be also about English. Do you need it for work? So this also contains the question a little bit about your work too. So could you share a little bit about what you do and if you use English or if you would at some point need to start using English for your work?
It's a very important question because the reason that I had a big gap in learning English was because I didn't need it in my work. I didn't understand how I can use it. Okay, I learned it in the school and university. Then in some courses, I met my first husband on that courses, and a lot of years I thought that was a benefit of that courses because I really didn't use English, but uh, I had a husband from that,
At
so
least something.
it was a joke. Right now, I really need English for my business, for my work, because I can be a speaker in some foreign conference or some exhibition, and also I need write a lot of letters in English, or sometimes some uh, art curators or art manager from abroad wrote me, and they also can use online translator or something like that. But as usual, they wrote me in English, and till now, I feel I feel free with my not very high level of English when I speak with you, but I'm afraid to write a letter. And as
Mhm,
usual, I use a translator, some
mhm,
online translator,
mhm,
something like that. This it's my mm, um, low level place. I think I need more knowledge about that,
mhm,
about this business letters for me.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
Uh,
yeah.
and, um, and of course, I'm a public person. I right now I have a lot of public speaking in Ukrainian and Kiev and other cities, I can organize like a lecture format, also like workshops or something like that. And of course, I imagine that I can also do it abroad.
Mhm.
And
Can I just pause here for a second? I'll add that you are an artist too,
yeah,
and
yeah, I
are
told
an
about that
artist.
in the beginning.
Yeah, you talk about your art, and also when you need to travel and talk about, give presentations or public speeches, you also present stories about your grandparents, right?
Yeah, yeah. Last, for example, this summer, I had an experience. I took part in a small online conference, and I did it in English. I made a presentation, and unfortunately, it sounds like I just read. I read all my text,
Uh-huh.
and but okay, they understood me. So
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
and for me, this one of our stop to learn and
Mhm,
stop to not afraid to speak.
mhm.
It's a thing that думка,
Thought,
thought,
thought, thought.
thought, thoughts that everyone speak English perfect,
Mhm.
just not me. And
Uh-huh.
this online conference was a good show for me. That girl from Litva also speak not perfect, or guy from for example, from Great Britain, he used so specific dialect that no one understood him. So it's okay to speak not perfect.
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
Or read or to read text like I did.
Yeah, yeah, from the papers. Yeah, so probably you will at some point go back to your lessons to improve, to be able to practice public speaking so that you could travel more and you could do the speeches.
Yes,
Yeah.
I really need English. I really need
Mhm,
English.
mhm. Yeah. Are you, well, I know you're a public speaker in Ukrainian. What about public speaking in English? And I'm not talking online. Have you ever tried it? And are you a confident public speaker in general, not just English or Ukrainian in general?
Uh, I like it. I'm an uh, extrovert person.
Yes.
I like to be in light of Soviets,
Yeah.
something like that. And I didn't have an experience to public speaking, not online right
Hmm.
now. But I think about that, and I'm looking for possibilities to take part in this. And uh, uh, I all except окрім
Except.
except English, I also have to grow my other knowledge, like articulate
Articulation.
even
Yeah.
Ukrainian,
Yeah.
or this is specific kind of speaking. When I have to speak slowly and make some pauses or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So, but English, I also have to learn English to use all this mixed together.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very large number of tools and skills that we need to master in order to become a great and excellent public speaker, also in our mother tongue, not to mention English with its rules and pronunciation and intonation and so on, and vocabulary and the fear that we have. Yeah, yeah. So too many things, but as we mentioned a little bit earlier, uh, as long as we start working, doing the small steps, it'll come with experience. So I support you here. Have you ever had troubles when you spoke or tried to understand English? Perhaps some mispronunciations, some funny or embarrassing situations. Maybe you remember anything. Maybe you mispronounced something, or that caused some laugh, or somebody else did. If you have any cases like this.
I think I had a lot of mistakes in pronunciation, and native speakers just can laugh when they heard me, I think. But unfortunately, I don't know about that. I have one story. It's not about my public story, but it's a good example how we have to be, how important to use it. I was small, and one of my neighbors from my village with his family. They emigrated to USA,
Mhm.
and he every summer he got to our village to visit the grandmother, in fact. And we sit together, this new American boy, but
Yeah,
he is Ukrainian,
yeah.
and some other girls, boys. And we told him, we retold or repeat some advertising, some funny videos from Ukrainian TV. And one of us told him about toothpaste. It named Herbal.
Mhm.
Maybe you remember
Yeah,
Herbal. And
yeah.
we told him Herbal. And he said, what? It can be name. He spoke to in Ukrainian, but he said it can be name
Name.
of toothpaste. We
Yeah.
said, no, it's Herbal. And after that, he said, you pronounce it like hair ball. It's
Ah.
this messy things from
Yeah, yeah,
when you but we laughed a lot there.
yeah.
And then I understood that I have to use correctly all these pronounce
Yeah,
tips.
yeah, yeah, it can cause confusion, but the funny thing here is that Americans don't pronounce her sound in the word herbal.
Herbal,
British do.
herbal,
The
mhm,
Americans say herbal, so
herbal.
they don't pronounce the her.
So but we of course we said herbal,
Yes,
herbal.
yes. Do you remember
Yeah,
we also had this ad? Um, oh my goodness, blue water.
blue water. Yeah.
When everybody in Ukraine was thinking about a very different and very nasty thing that, came through listening. So this ad was no longer on TV. So we have to be really careful, especially people in advertising.
Yeah, I think it's a big challenge for advertisers to use all this English or Ukrainian double meaning words, of
Yeah.
course.
Mhm.
But this pronunciation jokes, it's my big fear, really, because I watched right now. I watched a lot. I'm watching a lot of like funny videos about English learning,
Yeah.
and a lot of very young and funny teachers tell about some slang or some specific new slang, and there are so much new idioms and a lot of new words, and sometimes I think I never learned it. I don't know how to learn it all. I
Yeah.
just I will be it will be a big shame when I will use some word, my word that I know. Also, I will say it with big pronunciation, this bad pronunciation with mistakes. And as I see on this video, it sounds like some, I don't know, ugly meaning or something like that. I better do not use it at all. So, it's sometimes I stop to watch this video because they motivated me.
Yes, very demotivational, and they bring some complexes onto us. Yeah.
Yeah,
And this is the thing I always try to tell as well to, not just to my students, but also to my kids. We should never be comparing ourselves to anyone, our pronunciation to anyone else's pronunciation, our English to anyone else's English. We could only compare ourselves today to ourselves in the past. This
yes,
is the
yes,
best because
very right.
otherwise, we will never be enough for ourselves. Yeah. And this is so demotivational. So, yeah, guys, don't compare yourselves to anyone. We are all unique. Each one of us is unique. And we have our unique pathway onto, to better English, to better pronunciation, to better anything. Yeah. Even if you don't want to develop anymore, it's your decision and it's your best decision. in this very moment. What do you think, why do you think, if you agree with this one, the better knowledge of English would be beneficial for Ukrainians? Where and how could we use this knowledge in order to make a living or maybe to spread the word about something?
Oh, it's very important to, it's a big benefit for Ukrainians to know English. You know, when I was in Portugal, I lived in a small village, and I lived in hotel, and there was a TV, and all staff on the supper, on the dinner, ate together and watched TV. And there was some views, some videos from Ukrainian, from war. And for example, small boy, like 8 or 9 years old, speak English and told about what happened with him and all this Portugal stuff. Oh my God, all Ukrainians know English. You're so good speaking English. I said, not on all Ukrainians. No, unfortunately, not everyone. Just one boy. That's why.
Okay, what's up?
But it's a good imagine that more and more kids can use it.
Yes,
More and more kids can explain what happened in
yeah,
Ukraine right now,
yeah,
or more like adults like me can explain about culture, can explain
yeah,
about art. When we travel, when we are refugees or something like that,
yeah.
it's more uh, правды.
Truth,
We,
yeah, more
we
truth,
we
truth.
can generate more truth.
Yes,
It's a big instrument to um, uh, untruth our stories when we can't use English. Of course, we have we have all to learn and all to use, and it should be a big government programs that we all have to learn English.
yeah, yeah. It's an ability to have also an English voice in the world, yeah. One last question, and I will let you go. Maybe you could share with us 1 or 2 tips of your own personal experience, how to better improve your pronunciation or general English. Anything that you think might work for our viewers, just, a piece of advice that worked for you, perhaps. Yep.
My personal tips, it's to make it can be tips for everything, not only for English.
Oh, even
But
better.
because I have to use English a little bit in public, like right now, or
Yeah.
in some other meetings or something else, my best what I can do for me, it's to prepare prepare for that. For example, not all my speech, but a few, oh my God, речення, I forget
Send.
sentence. Few sentence I have to proclaim between the uh, below the mirror, yeah.
In front of the mirror. In
In front
front.
of the mirror. Okay. I when I will do it, I can understand that I have to use in front of the mirror,
Yes, yes.
not below or something like that.
Yeah.
Also, I write for myself some words, some specific words,
Uh-huh.
and maybe I will not use it in my speaking,
Yeah.
but I will feel more calm, and I will feel this inner inner state that
Mm.
I did my best when I prepare, so I can speak, use my 5 words in wrong forms, but inside I pewna,
I'm confident. I am confident.
confident. I'm confident. So
So
sometimes this confident state more important than right times in English.
yeah, 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 yeah. Then speak a perfect sentence. Yeah. So we've come again, to it doesn't matter if you have a perfect accent or a perfect pronunciation. It doesn't matter if your sentence is wrong a little bit and has some mistakes, as long as what happens? Communication between us, as long as we have understanding. So the
Yeah.
main means of language is to communicate with others, to
Communicate.
deliver the message. Yeah.
And of course, do not be afraid to set that I can understand your question,
Yeah.
or can you explain it in other words, or
Yeah.
and the more I try to do not use it, but when someone like you ask me something and I can understand it, I just I will answer to other question, you know. Or
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a as I know, it's also recommendation when you speak on your mother, when you can't
Mother.
find when you can find the answer to question, you just can say something else. So we can use it also when you just do not understand English.
Yeah, so it's a good trick. So guys, girls, also remember maybe, before, if you have a need to have a public speech in English, go and have a look at some techniques that you would do and use in your mother tongue in Ukrainian and apply them in English. So yeah, you can do some tricks to avoid some situations where you could go into the
Yeah.
wrong place. Yeah. Thank you so much, Olenka. Thank you so much for your
Thank you,
time,
Tanya.
for joining me today. I am absolutely sure we all enjoyed the conversation with you. So please subscribe, hit the follow button, press the ring over there so you are notified every time I'm about to have a new video. Look out for more. I will be having some more videos on pronunciation, tricks and tips and pieces of advice when it comes to English learning. So stay tuned, stay with us. Thank you for being with us. And Olenka, thank you once again for
Thank you so
joining.
much. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you all.
Thank you.